Guys, welcome to this very first video of mine. This is actually Malaysian syllabus. I'm gonna teach you guys math. This chapter is called number basis, and this is, well, my very first time. Okay, number basis. I'm gonna shake the device so that it'll send me on paint mode. I'll undo that. Okay, numbers used in everyday life is in base 10. Those are the numbers we normally use, which are 0 to 9. And when we join them together, that's when we can get tens, hundreds, thousands, and so on. If we see numbers in base 2, right here, you get 0 and 1, 5, you get till 4, and so on. So whenever you want to have a number in a certain base, it cannot reach that number. Like, for example, let's take base 8. Numbers in base 8, it's going to be here. You can see that it's only till 7. And we can join those numbers together. Actually, now, if we look at this part, conversion to other bases, this is what we call the algorithm method. What we do is we continually divide by that number we call a base. Okay, and it's going to come out some kind of weird computer thing, like what you see in the movies. What you normally see in the movies is what we call a base 2. That's what computers understand. They're called binary numbers. I'm going to take number 57, for example. It's already written. So what I did was I divided by 2 for each number until I got a 0. And you can see for this part where I'm almost at a 0, I had to divide by 2 again, and every step that I divide, you will realize that this is actually subtraction. I actually took 1 from 57, and because I did that, I can actually divide it by 2, and it would produce the number 28. And that is an even number, so it's easy for me to divide by 2. I do not have to take out any numbers. That is why those two numbers are 0. But when I reach 7, I cannot divide by 2 because it's not an even number. I had to take 1 out. As you can see, all these are the numbers that I took out. 7, take away 1, I'll have 6 divided by 2. That's how I got this 3. Okay? And that works for all the bases. So like for base 5, same thing. Base 8, same thing. I take out the numbers and then I subtract or I divide until it makes sense to me, until I can get a proper answer in the end. Okay, now what we do is once we get those numbers, we're gonna have to write them all the way up. So if I were to write this in what we call binary, base 2, I'm gonna have to write it this way: 1, 1, 1, it's going up, 0, 0, 1, and base 2. It's at the bottom, like this. Okay, that's how you're supposed to write it in your exams. Or if you know that your answer already has to be in base 2, you don't have to write that. Depends on the lecturer sometimes, actually. Okay, now that we've got all these numbers in their respective bases, we want to learn how to convert them back to, 57, 325, 7,500, 352. What we do is we create tables. Actually, we create tables starting from that base to the power 0. To the power 0, and we're just going to fill in those numbers. Like for now, I have 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, and that's how I'm writing it: 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. For 5, I have 2, 3, 0, 0. All that checks out and makes sense. Okay, I'm going to take base 2 because it is easier to illustrate. 2 to the 0, that's 1. Multiplied by 1, that's 1. 2 to the 1, that's 2. But it's multiplied by 0, so that's gone. And this is gone as well because it's multiplied by 0. 2 to the 3, it's 8. And you can see I have 1 of 8, so that's going to be 8. Now all of this can be interpreted and written down here. As you can see, 2 to the 5, I have 1 of that, and that would be this. 2 to the 4, I have 1 of that, and that would be this. 2 to the 3, 1 of that. 2 to the 2, I have 0. So you can see it's multiplied by 0. It disappears, this disappears, this stays. So now that I've got all these numbers, I have to simplify my equation, and I will have something like this. If I add all these numbers together, no doubt I will have 57 in base 10. So my conclusion is that 57 in base 10 is equals to 111,001 base 2. That works for all these other bases as well. So you're going to have to take the same logic, the same concept, and apply it to all different bases. It's not hard because it's the same thing for other bases. Now I'm gonna remove all this, and I'm gonna shake the tablet for a while so that I'll exit the drawing mode. Okay, this is the second part of what you're gonna have to learn. This is what we call wrong click. Okay, this is what we call addition of numbers in base 2. That's what we're gonna learn. That's what we're supposed to learn in this current syllabus. 0 plus 0 is actually 0, as you can see from the first dot. The second bullet point, 0 plus 1, that's 1. All this makes sense. 1 plus 0, if you switch it around, you still get 1. 1 plus 1 is actually giving us 10. Now, why is this happening? Why aren't we supposed to get 2? You know, like, when we normally handle numbers, 1 plus 1 is supposedly 2. But remember, we're doing numbers in base 2. You can either have a 0 or a 1. So, since I cannot have a 2, I can only have a 10. That makes sense. Now, if I add 1 plus 1 plus 1 together, that would make this 10 because of the 1 plus 1. And I would add the 1, I will have 11. But we don't call it 11, we'll call it 1 base 2. Because that's how freaky we are when we're dealing with computer things. So we can also use the normal method, where we normally calculate big numbers during addition, multiplication, whatever you like. Using this method, and yeah, it's actually, this is a conclusion. I forgot what I wrote, why I wrote that. Oh yeah, you can convert different numbers into different bases. And subtraction actually works the same. 0 minus 0, it's 0. 1 minus 0, that's 1. But you can't change it around because that would make it weird. 1 minus 1 is 0. 10 minus 1 is 1. Now, this 10 minus 1 equals 1 is actually, well, you know that addition is actually the reverse of subtraction. If I were to reverse this, that would be 1 base 2 plus 1 base 2 equals to 10 base 2, which is actually this equation. So that checks out. Now I just gotta remove all this. Okay, now if we use a calculator, I just want you to, just pick up your calculator real quick and click on mode once, twice, click on 3, which will activate the base. You can either, depending on what base you want to calculate, you can click on dec for base 10, which are decimals, bin for binary, or oct for I do not know what. Okay, if you click on that, you can actually type this in your calculator. You won't have a problem. You can calculate this. But sometimes those numbers don't pop out. They might give you a math error, and you're still gonna have to do it the normal traditional way, which is this. Well, that's for it now. I might do a video on exercises. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like all these videos that I'm trying to teach you, basic mathematics, subscribe to my channel and I will teach you more. Hopefully I'll have time to upload every single week. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna shake it again and end the video here. Bye.